Good morning, good morning. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from the YouTube channel for the 10 part series. The week that was college football history review, the 1984 college football season. This is week 7. Yeah, week 7. The games are played on October 13th, 1984. Just getting to it, we're going to start with South Carolina, number 17 team in the country, beating Pittsburgh 45-21. The Gamecocks added to Pitt's woes as fire Ants defense, led by linebacker James Seabright, had 15 tackles, held Panthers to 108 yards rushing. South Carolina's very offense made 443 yards by outrunning bigger Panthers. Quarterback Mike Hold played well off the bench, tossing 2 touchdown passes as Carolina opened with 5 wins for the first time since 1928. So Hold's scoring strikes found wide receiver Chris Wade for 31 and 33 yards connections as the Gamecocks built a 28-14 lead in the third quarter. Panthers cut deficit in half on a 5-yard touchdown run by tailback Craig Haywood before Carolina turned back to starting quarterback Allen Mitchell, who sparked 17 straight points to end it. Wide receiver Chuck Scales was bright spot for Pitt, catching 4 passes for 125 yards, including a 60-yard touchdown. Next, we got Alabama versus Penn State. Alabama Crimson Tide, where Alabama beat number 11 Penn State 6-0. Despite starting 13 freshmen and sophomores, young Crimson Tide posted his first shutout over Penn State since 1966. Quarterback Vince Sutton recently moved from 18th birthday, directed offense that gained 218 yards and, most importantly, committed no turnovers. As Alabama kicker Van Tiffin won kicking contest with 2 field goals, including school record 53-yard effort by Penn State kicker Nick Gancentino missed first half attempts from 51 to 42 yards. Thereafter, Nick lines penetrated no farther than Bama 45-yard line. Game's leading rusher was Alabama halfback Don Horsted, who edged Penn State tailback DJ Dozer by 59 yards to 58 yards. Next, Auburn, number 16 team in the country, beat Florida State. The number 9 team in the country, number 16 Auburn, beat number 9 Florida State 42-41. Barn Burner went down to the wire with Auburn scoring a winning touchdown with 48 seconds remaining as halfback Brent Forward's third touchdown 4-yard run. That's capped a 76-yard drive. Big play was quarterback Pat Washington's 35-yard completion to wide receiver Freddie Wagan, who had 147 yards receiving on 4 catches, who in the first quarter caught a 51-yard pass from Forward to set up a touchdown. Meanwhile, Florida State gained 591 yards as quarterback Eric Thomas threw for 357 yards and 4 touchdowns, with 52 yards on final pass to wide receiver Herb Gainer, who went out of bounds as time expired, but before FSU could attempt field goal. Thomas launched a 73-yard bomb to wide receiver Jesse Hester in the second quarter and spun a 14-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Hassan Jones with 7:44 left that gave the Seminoles a 41-36 lead. But Tigers also scored on a big play touchdowns on halfback Collis Campbell, racing 69 yards in the second quarter when Forward fumbled second half kickoff. Ball popped to Auburn special teamer Ed Graham, who screamed, running remaining 60 yards to end zone. This was probably the greatest game I've ever been associated with, said winning coach Pat Dye. An all-timer, Lord have mercy. Next, Iowa beat Purdue, the number 14 team in the country, 40-3. Hawkeyes easily grabbed share of the Big Ten lead as quarterback Chuck Long threw 4 touchdowns of 30 yards or longer. Wide receiver Robert Smith had 3 touchdowns for 120 yards receiving. Long's 4th touchdown went to 56 yards to wide receiver Scott Helverson. Trailing 19-3 at halftime, Purdue blew chance to rally after it made two fumble recoveries off hands of Iowa tailback Ronnie Harmon deep in the Hawks' territory. Opportunities ended on field goal and lost end zone fumble by tight end Marty Scott. Boilermakers quarterback Jim Everett threw for 228 yards, but was picked off 3 times. Said long, Purdue didn't adjust, and we just picked them apart in every way. Next, we got Ohio State, the number 8 team in the country, beating Illinois 45-38. Unable to stop Ohio State tailback Keith Byers, Illinois blew early 24-point lead. Despite the big deficit, Ohio State kept delivering ball to its meal ticket, and Byers rushed for a school record at the time, 274 yards. Break-in tailback Archie Griffin's mark of 246 yards set in 1973, scoring 5 touchdowns as Buckeyes posted 28 straight points. At the Illinois tied game 38-38 late in the fourth quarter, on a 16-yard field goal by kicker Chris White. Passing up fourth down try from 1 yard line, Ohio State began final drive at own 20-yard line. So Buckeyes marched 80 yards on 7 carries by Byers among 11 plays to win the game on third 3-yard run with 38 seconds left. So Byers' most impressive touchdown was a 67-yard effort, during which he left his left shoe 27 yards into the run. His performance gave him 1,076 yards per season, extended scoring streak to 12 games. Scoring for first 4 times it had ball, Illinois was led by quarterback Jack Trudeau, who aired it out for 313 yards and 4 touchdowns. Fullback Thomas Brooks had 168 yards on 28 carries. Ohio State quarterback Mike Tomczak threw for 236 yards, while wide receiver Chris Carter caught 7 passes for 134 yards. Battle 2, top 4 teams, top 3 teams. You had number 1 Texas versus number 3 Oklahoma, where number 3 Oklahoma beat number 1 Texas. No, excuse me, beg your pardon, apologize. Number 1 versus number 3. Number 1 Texas versus number 3 Oklahoma resulted in a tie, 15-15. Ranked number 1 and number 2 by UPI, rivals battled to controversial finale with Sooners leading 15-12. Texas quarterback Todd Dodge, who played despite hyperextended knee, threw to wide receiver Bill Boyd Bryant in end zone. Oklahoma cornerback Andre Johnson tipped ball into hands of safety Keith Stanberry, who appeared to catch it before toppling over sideline. Official Ed Clark ruled that pass was incomplete as Stanberry was out of bounds. Longhorns kicker Jeff Ward then booted tying 32-yard field goal as time expired. Flyers clearly showed that Stanberry had possession of ball in hands. The ball in bounds. League later admitted call was blown. Also blown was Texas 10-0 halftime lead built on a 25-yard touchdown pass to Bryant, 4-yard Ward kick as Oklahoma linebacker Brian Bosworth made early splash, forcing a fumble by fullback Tubby Orr at the 6-yard line of Texas that led to a 5-yard touchdown run by halfback Steve Sewell. 9 seconds later, Texas botched a punt snap deep in own territory for 2 more points for Sooners, who then scored on an ensuing drive with Sewell catching 24-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Danny Bradley. Sooners defense, which allowed only 96 yards rushing wet turf, surrendered 58 yards on one play by backup tailback Kevin Nelson to put ball first and goal on 2-yard line. 4 plays later, ball was on 3-yard line, going over to Sooners on downs. Former coach Barry Switzer soon opted for a conceded safety and booted ball away, giving Texas ball on own 44-yard line with 2:04 to go to final drive. Next, Southern Methodist, the number 7 team in the country, beat Baylor 24-20. Now, the Bears blew a 20-10 lead in the fourth quarter by allowing 80-yard and 85-yard drives within the game's final minutes, 80 and 85-yard drives within the game's final minutes. Mustangs quarterback Don King led the rally, completing 3 passes, 57 yards on drive to set up his 3-yard touchdown run, finishing second drive with 27-yard scoring pass to wide receiver Ron Morris, had 100 yards receiving on 8 carries with 49 seconds left. King was 3 for 3, all 85 yards on a winning trip. Baylor defense had played well up until end, limiting potent Mustangs 180 yards rushing. Meanwhile, Baylor tailback Ron Francis ran for 112 yards and snared 3-yard scoring reception. Finally, Brigham Young, the number 5 team in the country, beat Wyoming 41-38. Now, Brigham Young quarterback Robbie Bosco's 14-yard touchdown pass to tight end David Mills with 4:16 left secured coming from behind with victory. Bosco threw 5 touchdown passes, 3 to Mills as Cougars continued winning streak to the nation's best 17 games. Cowboys had scored 19 straight points to take a 26-21 lead in the third quarter. The scoring string included touchdown on 77-yard punt return by punt returner Oliver Davis late in the first half. The teams then traded scores until halfback Kevin Lowe scored on a 61-yard run late in the third quarter to give Cowboys last lead at 38-33. Wide receiver Alan Griffin caught 64 and 37-yard touchdowns for Wyoming. So that includes a look at Week 7, the games that were played, the week that was college football history review, the 1984 college football season, the games that were played on October 13th, 1984. Let's look at the AP polls. October 15th is concerned. We had number 20, West Virginia, 19, Penn State, 18, Iowa, 17, Florida, 16, Kentucky, 15, Florida State, 14, Georgia, 13, Auburn, 12, Oklahoma State, 11, South Carolina. The top 10 round out is this: number 10, Louisiana State, 9, Miami, 8, Ohio State, 7, Brigham Young, 6, Methodist, Southern Methodist, 5, Nebraska, 4, Boston College, Texas was number 3, 2 was Oklahoma, and number 1 was Washington. So includes look at college football history review, the 1984 college football season, the week that was for Week 7, the games that were played on October 13th, 1984, Week 7. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. Do video this magnitude tomorrow. Until then, talk to you soon.